Man, remember going out on the town when you were young? Man, you're 16 years old or you were, 22 and you hit the town. Anything could fucking happen, bruh. A friend pulled up. He showed up in a fucking van. He didn't even drive a van. One of his parents drove a van. And one of his parents, who were not super smart, let their son, a 16-year-old kid, take the fucking van to go out at night. How has that not caught on to parents? Don't let your fucking son take the van. A van is just a trap house on wheels. Anything could happen. Dude, if somebody had a car, it was like, things was limited. You could ride around, you could listen to some music, you could put some beers in the trunk, you could smoke a joint, right? Somebody had a fucking van? Dude, if your friend had a van, bro, anything could happen. You could start a small business. You could run a butcher shop in the back of that bitch, son. You know what I'm saying? Y'all doing 40 miles an hour and fucking dropping bacon bits out the back. In a van? Anything could happen in a van. You could start a little family back there. You could start an advertising agency back there. It's Mad Men back here in the third row. Dude, if you ever had a van with that third row, anything could happen in a van. But I remember when you were young, the night was thick. Boy, you got out your friend picked you up at 8 o'clock. Y'all rolled out. If you was girls, you was a couple of bad bitches rolling out, Put in your fucking, put in a real, put your strongest tampon in and hit the town. We doing it tonight, Daniela. You know what I'm saying? Maria, you know what I'm saying? Huh? Susan, huh? Tiffany. Tonight we letting it all hang out. No bra tonight, girl. I'm letting these titties touch the wind. Man, I miss that being young. Dude, I remember we'd go out. Man, I remember one time my buddy picked me up and he had a van. He had the longest van you could get. Have you ever seen that van? It was like for church, right? But then every now and then somebody who wasn't with the church would get the church van. Dude, that thing had 9 rows. You know what I'm saying? The 8th row was just for sin. The 9th row, bro, they had usually like a little, a cooler back there, get you a couple of, some juice hitters, some, Capri Suns. You get them Capri Suns and you just juicing yourself up, just dousing yourself up with fruit juices in that 9th row. Then you jump back over the seat into that 8th row and sin again, boy. You know what I'm saying? Drop your sin stick in. And you had maybe a lady back there, or if you was being real wild, you might have had a little man back there with you. And that was it, man. That somebody who wasn't with the church got that church van. And anything could happen. Dude, the 4th row, that was for remedial reading. They had tutoring going on in the 4th row. The 5th row, they had somebody who was usually grilling cheeses or, doing grilling cheeses there. Somebody hit you with that small, if I don't know if you ever eaten a grilling cheese, but they're good. Someone had a dog back there and they were talking about, maybe they were going to listen to Widespread Panic or something. I mean, anything that long. So when somebody that wasn't with the church got the church van, dirty magic could happen. You know what I'm saying? Dirty fucking magic. They had dirt. One of the rows, it was somebody doing magic or pretending they were doing magic, but really they were just trying to touch just trying to get a little bit of touch. A little bit of David Coppenfields. You know what I'm saying? Oh, come back here. I'm going to pull a rabbit out this hat. But then you get back there and the only thing in that hat is, a little bit of regular cock. And you're like, oh, this ain't a rabbit. This ain't a rabbit, but I'm going to let that thing hop around on me. Man, being young, man, anything could happen when you were young. And when you had a friend that got to somebody that wasn't with the church, got that church van. Could you believe a parent, much less a parent with the church, First of all, what is the church doing selling that van back out into the world? What do they think is going to happen? Not every family has 19 children. Remember that van? You know the long van I'm talking about? That thing was like a 40-seater. You could put 2 baseball teams in the van and still have a couple rows for referees to sit between them. But in it, man, when wild stuff happened when somebody who wasn't with the church got a hold of that church van. And they had a boy like that in my town, this beautiful boy named Samson. And he would come pick us up in that church van, bruh. Dude, one of the windows, immediately, we couldn't get it open. Somebody just fucking broke that bitch out with a hammer. And we were so far, we were in like the 6th row. You couldn't even hear the glass break in the front. And we was smoking giants in there. We was smoking just American children's giants. Just blowing, just huffing huge amounts of marijuana into our lungs. And I'm talking them horse leg hitters, man. We had one boy with us. He was so weak he couldn't even hold up some of the big giants we was smoking. He couldn't even hold them. He had to hold them with both arms and then also get one of his legs up there to hold that giant. You know, he had to fucking put he had to get 2 hands and a foot up there to hold that giant up to his mouth. And he was just, dude, people smoking horse legs, dude. Equestrians. You know what I'm saying? The kind of joints that might test positive for doping, for steroids. Them big horse legs, baby. Just, dude, I remember I got high one time, you know, they picked me up at 8 o'clock. I got so high, I fell asleep. At 8:15, I was unconscious, right? But still, I was young, man, and you could faint or pass out. You could die when you were young, and you wake back up 2 hours later. And people are like, where you been? You're like, I've been fucking dead in row 6. I'm like, well, come on back, man. You're like, I'm back now. You know, this is reincarnation. Pass that jaunt again. And you get jaunted up. But I remember all kind of stuff. People, you know, using, you know, making, you'd have a one row 7 or row 8, somebody making illegal footwear. Anything could happen. You know, they had a couple of children back there with printing presses, you know, making propaganda flyers. Anything could happen. You know, the 1st or 2nd row, that's where people that really, you know, some people were just looking for a ride, hitchhikers. Everybody was in that church van when somebody that wasn't with the church got a hold of it. You know, you'd have people in the 2nd row, or the 3rd row, you'd have people touching each other's crotches, you know. Fangabonging each other. But by the 7th row, they'd be raising a child, the same people, later that evening. It was just, you know, anything could happen. You get married in row 5, you know what I'm saying? Child rearing in row 7, divorced in row 11, working for the city in row 12. Bam, son, you got a whole fucking life going on in that church van, boy. Thing had 46 rows, dude. They had a funeral going on, row 39, somebody gone, somebody died. And this time died for full time. This is full time, 40 hours a week dead. We're not talking part time. But man, that was wild, and that was wild being young. Thank you guys for checking out this clip. And if you want to see another clip, then you can look at this clip or this clip, either one of these. So did you pick one, or are you still just watching me do this? Because this is alarming.